5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom! Welcome back. I'm Thundercloud, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. My sister calls me Jim and my mum calls me James. I'm here tonight with a few linguistic fun and games. I was away for a little while here on Facebooky world because my Facebook account got hacked and I had to create a new one. But anyway, here I am, back again. And last week, well, I was crook as a dog, coughing and headachy and that kind of stuff and sore throat and everything that happens when you invite 80 people into your home for a dance party. You're sure to get something if you haven't had it. Well, Chillin Tuesday here in Yarra from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. What have we got for you tonight? A little bit more Colin Johnson from the song Circle of Jacky and selected poems. And also I'll be reading the poetry of Zora Cross today, and I'll tell you a little bit about her later on, as well as some of my own poetry that I've been writing this week. And well, good news. Wow. It's the winter solstice now. It's the shortest day of the year, the 21st of June 2022. The moon is in Pisces. We're going in from, where are we going from? Is it Gemini into Cancer tonight sometime. So the astrology's all moving about, whatever that means, I don't know. It's just going to be a very long, dark night. Except if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Hello out there, everyone, all around the world, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you may be watching this in this here planet. So let's begin the night by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which I broadcast, the Kamilaroi and Banbai people here up on top of the tableland in Yarra, and acknowledge the continuing connection to the land of all elders and First Nations people right around this here continent now called Australia, and their continuing connection to that land of the elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge sovereignty has never been ceded. Moving right along, we've done the formalities. Not just formalities, very important acknowledgements. And I've been reading over the last few weeks here on Chillin Tuesdays a song Circle of Jacky and selected poems by Colin Johnson. And I was up to song 23 was the last one I did. So I'll be doing song 24 and a few more. We've got 35 songs here to get through over this week and next week. This book was published by Hyland House Publishing in 1986 in Hyland Street, South Yarra. Rightio. Song 24. Clinging a little monkey to its mother ape, Jacky clutches what is unreal as the past. Use sweet love while he waits for a new idea to grab all his mind. Really? You took his mind as you took his body, taking all, refusing to be denied, anger calling, liberating while trying, acquiescent heat rising, painting for a single thrust to bring blood spurting. Skywalker, you rose on early morning mist, sub-zero cold, the sunless ground your landing fields. Though you left in summer clothing of tropic heat, yes, you rose and fled sun-skinned girl, taking all you needed to drift as a cloud. Song 25. Sun patches scar the adult mind. Black of skin, mother's warning. Stay out of shadows, try to appear white. Don't show the darkness, ever present as your aboriginality. In that darkness, father watching, waiting, lovingly as his son another drink taking. Forget it, let it be. Old stories lost in slimy time. Learn to accept the father saves a child, fluttering with wings from heights non-attained. Song 26. This hooked throwing stick of peninsula land, Bunjil fashioned it. With beak and claw he scored the earth. The waters rose to enclose the shape for Eaglehawk to see as he flew high, scattering, to drift upon the land, the seedlings of the Bunurong, to grow from earth as bird from nest. Song 27. A youthman was found hanging in his cell on NAIDOC Day, when everywhere the Aborigines were dancing. Everywhere the Aborigines were marching. They're just like us, was the quaint refrain. They like balls and footy and songs and beer. They ignored our call for land rights. On NAIDOC Day, a youth man strangled in a cell. Who killed him? Who were his murderers? Not I, said the cop. I only took him in. Not I, said the town. I never spoke his name. It's no fault of mine that he had to die. We treat them as we would our own. There's no racism in our town. On NAIDOC Day, a youthman died while his people camped nearby trying to recover stolen land. They daubed the town with truth and raised high the red and black and gold. The red was his blood, black was his skin, gold was his cause as bright as sun. We want our land back, and there is no turning back. Song 28. On the 20th anniversary of Mao Zedong's death, the Central Committee of the Chinese People's, the CPC, decreed that his objectives had been reached and forthwith sold China to GMA before retiring to a geriatrics home in Florida, which they owned, livestock and commune. GMA at a special stockholders meeting announced in the 1,000-page press release summarising the gains and future prospects of the firm that they were world winners in the capitalist stakes, with over 1 billion employees, each paying rent of $1 a day for land on which to work. Meanwhile, not to be left out, the ALLP, surveying world events with socialising eyes behind liberal spectacles lightly dusted with country earth, declared for sale lock, stock and Aborigines of Australia to GMH in the interests of all-round prosperity, plus the curbing of inflation and the paying of an army of anti-terrorist squads, armed to the teeth, to fight an opposition yet to appear. The bill was presented and passed into act without a murmur. The chip had long gone to an ALLP grave, and it was in the middle of the footy season. What followed next was GMA acquiring England, France, and all the rest in cooperation with USSR Incorporated. Barry's Irish Tea Gold Blend, one of the most lovely teas that I think, anyway. It's all my personal opinion, isn't it? If you come here to the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, you can buy one of these lovely Australian Poetry Hall of Fame cups for just $19.95. And if you do, I'll fill it with coffee for free. It's true. Yeah. We buy a coffee and the cup's only $14.95. Song 29. All the passionate men, never having passed the manhood tests, have become old women sitting quietly in fancy new houses in Canberra Town, Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide and Perth. Jacky may drink plonk, Jacky may be old, but he see 'em all with Jacky, he curdate 'em. All the young uns grown flabby, in white fellows' ways, sitting offices on fat salary chairs, waiting for his superannuation couches, while sending their gins to modelling schools, where they learn how to hide their Koori legs. Jacky may be poor, Jacky may be blind, but he curded your man. Curse 'em all with wisdom eye. And all the young uns have grown sad, fitting into white fellows' suits and ties, sitting all bored in office, house and town. Remember there were certain families. Remember your reservation home and certain houses and certain families, and don't play rules and regulations. Now we sit in Canberra Town, drinking whiskey and being neat, air-conditioned against the heat. Jacky may be drunk, Jacky, they think he's fool, but he has wisdom eye. Jacky, he courage man. And the last one I'm going to read out tonight, from the song Circle of Jacky and selected poems by Colin Johnson, aka Mudrooroo, song 30. Mummy, what's a Aboriginal? One come to talk to us today. What's a Nunkamba? Told us Captain Cook was bad, only came to steal this land. Mummy, what's a Nimbaluk? Said that we had spoiled the ground. Said that time would condemn us for our crime. Mummy, do you know about the Ungaroo? Said it was a big snake. Said it struck when it was hurt. Said it was hurting now. Mummy, I'm too scared to cry. I don't want our land to die. Jacky smiles. He's getting through. So from the song Circle of Jacky and selected poems by Colin Johnson. So I've read up to now song 30. Next week I should be able to finish it off getting through to song 35. Okay, next week, song 31. Alright, now Zora Bernice May Cross. A little bit about Zora Cross. She was born in 1890 and she died in 1864. She was born in Brisbane and went on to become a journalist and freelance writer in Sydney. Cross was one of the most original and dynamic Australian poets, but barely recognised as such. Cross's work includes the volumes Songs of Love and Life, 1917, and The Lilt of Life. Her best known poem is Elegy on an Australian Schoolboy, written for a younger brother killed during the First World War. But Cross also wrote intense love poems as well as deeply felt and investigative poems of motherhood. Alright, well I could read out of this book, but I'm not going to. I've gone out to my the Australian Poetry Library and Archive is everybody's to share. And I've found this book, Poets of Australia, selected by George Mackaness, published in, the price is 10 shillings and sixpence, and it was published in 1946, Angus and Robertson Limited, Sydney, Poets of Australia, an anthology of Australian verse. And there's probably about 4 or 5 pages of Zora Cross stuff here that I'm going to read to you tonight. And the first one is exactly that, her most famous poem written for her brother killed in World War I, Elegy of an Australian Schoolboy. I would not curse your England, wise as slow, just as unjust indeed. I can believe that from her heart may flow the truest human creed. She sounded one high call of liberty, that despots heard with dread. I know not what high purpose to be free crowns yet her starry head. Do I but raise a ghost, is England dead? Lies she in the lands forlorn? Shall Kentish orchards never hear the tread of eager life at morn? Is she but memories of old men and sad, since youth has left her side? Has that vast glory that you dreamed she had, but perished crucified? England, though all her vaunted heroes rise from Nile to Flanders red, calling you from the long red sunset skies, you shall remain still dead. You shall not touch her woods and flowers again, you shall not sail her Thames, you shall not see her in soft April rain, the fairy diadems. She cannot honour you, you do not feel her tears and pity deep, though all her multitudes in homage kneel, that cannot break your sleep, that cannot give you back the dew of earth, the light upon the sea, the soft, sweet ripple of your child's first mirth, your immortality. In every man there is a great new world, perhaps a glorious race. How can we tell the hero that war hurled to death bore not Christ's face? How can we tell what nobler nations lie now on the fields of France? What unborn masters of creation cry through murdered white romance? I only know you, brother of my blood, have gone, and many a friend's, trampled and broken in the Flanders mud, found youth's most bitter end. God, you are not yet one with the kind dust before new war horns blow, and sleek-limbed statesmen in their halls break trust to tell of the other woe. I speak if you heard me, oh my dear, from England's far off shore, as if that land that fills me with such fear held you not evermore. I live too much to feel that death must be. Though men make death today, I will not set the blame on deity of murder tunes they play. And yet you have not uttered one poor word while those half thoughts I weave. Silent as God, no murmur have I heard. 'Tis I, not you, who grieve. How should I move that vast eternity? Enough loud my cries and wild? No more am I regarded than the sea regards a brawling child. Zora, Bernice, Cross. This next one is called Books. Books. Oh, bury me in books when I'm dead, fair quattro leaves of ivory and gold and silk octavos bound in brown and red, that tales of love and chivalry unfold. Help me, heap me in volumes of fine vellum wrought, creamed with the close content of silent speech. Wrap me in sapphire tapestries of thought from some old epic out of common reach. I would my shroud were verse embroidered too, your verse for preference in starry stitch, and powdered with rhymes that poets woo, breathing dream lyrics in moon measures rich. Night holds me with a horror of the grave, that knows not poetry nor song nor you, nor leaves of love that down the ages wave, romance and fire in burnished cloths of blue. Oh, bury me in books and I'll not mind the cold slow worms that coil around my head, since my lone soul may turn the page and find the lines you wrote to me when I am dead. Zora, Bernice, Cross. Girl, Gladness. It's holiday hot time in the Hollyhock Hills, and I wish you would come with me, lady love, now. The butterfly bells from the folly full rills will ring if you listen and drop on your brow. So dear, come along, I've a kiss and a song. And I know where the fairies are forging a gong to ring up the elves to a festival fair of snippets of sunshine and apples of air. Oh, laddie, my laddie, quick, run out of school and away with a shout and a shake of the head. I pick you a pearl from the pigeon-pink pool where cuddles and kisses are going to bed. Away, come away to the land of the lay, for the afternoon's tinkles your lassie's loves lay. Play truant with time, and while age is asleep, I'll give you the heart of my girlhood to keep. Ooh, how lovely is that? Oh, it makes me go, oh, icky, ha! Well, I'm going to read you some more in just a moment. Now, I was sitting here this morning and Dave, the mailman, the postman, the postal delivery human, came and he gave me a letter, as they do, as is his job. And in that letter was from Adam Marshall, our local member for the Northern Tablelands in New South Wales Legislative Assembly. And it said, Dear James, please find enclosed a copy of a community recognition statement I had the pleasure of delivering in the New South Wales Legislative Assembly on Thursday the 9th of June 2022. It was a real honour to have the opportunity to share with my parliamentary colleagues details of the development of the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Guyra's historic Arcadia Theatre. Congratulations on your successful achievement. Yours sincerely, Adam Marshall. Well done, James. Well, and this is what I got. I got this this certificate with a statement, a community recognition statement, the Legislative Assembly of New South Wales. I recognise James Warren, Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. I recognise James Warren, founder of the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, located in Guyra's historic Arcadia Theatre. It's sort of almost like it brought a tear to my eye this morning. Built in 1929, James continues to bring poetry events and readings to Guyra. Most recently, Easter Sunday performance of The Piano Man. The Australian Poetry Hall of Fame offers more than performances. The Poetry Library houses a large collection of Australian poetry books, publication and unpublished works, giving recognition to Australian authors and unknown poets. Space is available for workshops. There's a bookstore, art supplies, stationery available at the venue, and even Tibetan breathing and yoga classes. And this is all true. The Sunday Guyra Farmers and Craft Markets gives exposure to local producers and artisans, and rounding out James's personal talents is Seahorse Medicine Cafe. That's where I am right now, showcasing his knowledge and experience in nutrition, herbal healing and healthy lifestyles. I congratulate James on the success of his enterprise, bringing inspirational experiences to Guyra. I commend James for providing an art centred throughout his ingenuity and perseverance, making the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame a popular venue of unique entertainment and education for the village. The Honourable Adam Marshall, MP, member for the Northern Tablelands, 9th of June 2022. And so, yeah, it's a big honour, actually. It's very, very humbling because, I do this because I love it. I love poetry. I like writing poetry. I like reading other poetry, other people's poetry. I like supporting other poets and nurturing new poets, which is really cool because this week we've challenged people for Wednesday Words. That's tomorrow night, and it's going to be live on Facebook. Wednesday Words over my poetry night to write a limerick. And so, I know Vincent's gone away and written a limerick. It's only 5 lines, but Vincent's now a poet. Gladness is a poet. And Paul Wood's a poet now. And Doug Adams a poet. And you can be a poet if you get a piece of paper and you write down your thoughts. They don't even have to rhyme. It can be just random thoughts and words, and it becomes, and you put a name on the top and then you call it the name of the poem, and you've written a poem. How about that? Yeah. So, on that note, I'm going to read out to you some of my own personal poetry that I've been writing this week. I think you deserve to hear some of my poetry. Yes, it's very true. Now, let me see if I can find it for you. All right. Oh, well, this is one about, it didn't mean to be about Julian Assange, but it kind of is. It's a bit about the system. Anyway, you'll hear it. It's got no name. This was written yesterday. Old systems are crumbling, old men are grumbling, hegemony's fumbling, and the youth, as usual, are looking strange. There's an economic rumbling, politicians are bumbling. I find it all humbling. The one certainty in life is constant change. Right across the nation, there's a surge of inflation. It's an engineered situation. What benefits can the bankers arrange? Mind control, indoctrination, social media, frustration, fake news, misinformation, and a journalist in prison named Julian Assange. Double speakers were jumbling the truth, the murmur and mumbling mainstream media, mind-dumbing, while the next game of chess is being arranged. Or Game of Thrones. Maybe I could call it Game of Chess, Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Kings and Queens, I don't know, you have to give it a name. Okay, here we go. This one, Yeah, okay, you'll get it. It's called the vexed gammon sluggle. And there's actually there's a structure to it. There's a meaning too. The vexed gammon sluggle. Foingle shed slip. I've boingle in the prip, but I've vexed the gammon sluggle, then begot of Norpal bip. Slip replied to Foingle, I love the bip of Norpal, but the gammon sluggle's vexed and you've the prick with boingle. Well, Foingle and Slip with the boingle tasting prip never saw the gammon sluggle and Norpal bought more bip. Norpal, Slip and Foingle with the bip and prip with boingle sent the gammon sluggle a text, saved a bip and prip with boingle. Well, the gammon sluggle had a sip of boingle prip and also bip, thanked Norpal, Slip and Foingle for delicious bip and boingle prip. So it makes perfect sense. Yeah, it does, because you know, Foingle and Slip had prip with boingle, and the gammon sluggle was vexed, right? But then Norpal came along with bip, so then you've got Foingle, Slip and Norpal with bip and boingle prip. And eventually they send a text to the gammon sluggle, and the gammon sluggle has bip and boingle prip, and that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah. And he says thanks. It's not rocket science. Acres of Diamonds. This was a reworking of a African proverb, fable kind of thing that I heard. Metaphor, story, whatever. Acres of Diamonds, and it was retold in couplet poetry. There's a little patch of calm in an ocean of panic. Selling off the family farm, our farmer is tragic and he's going on a search for diamond-studded land. When he finds his fortune, won't his life be grand? Searching high and low, will he ever find his treasure? One day will he know a life of wealth and pleasure, trotting up and down on a search for easy street. He's a desk jockey and a clown in the betting house he's beat. Why, he sold the family farm and he thought he was insane. He's depressed and without charm and he's going down the drain. Never found his fortune and he's going off his head. Life never played his tune and he ended up dead. In an ocean of panic, there's a little patch of calm where Farmer Obananic bears the work of his newborn farm. Working hard, tills the field, carries water from the creek so he gets a good crop yield. And just the other week, he was walking in the creek and he found a shiny rock. He forgot it for a week because he stored it in his sock, but he showed it to a friend who told him what he found. The farm he bought had acres of diamonds lying round. So the moral of the story, just stop and look around. You may just have a priceless antique sitting on the ground, and even better, you've the brains to do what's in your head. Find your little patch of calm and don't panic or be dead. You've everything you need to create a life of thrive, or you can look externally and live life in survivals, chasing rainbow ends, find hail and slime on, or stop. Look around, you're sitting on diamonds. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it from me here from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. We've been chilling on a Tuesday with Mudrooroo and Zora Cross and yours truly. And tomorrow night we got Wednesday Words back here live on Facebook, also uploaded to YouTube direct from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame in Yarra. We're heading of a low tonight of about 2 degrees, going to feel like -2. Over the next 7 days, I think the top here in Yarra is going to be about 10 or 11 or 12 even. One day it might get up to 12. Minuses overnights, -1, -1, something like that for the next week before it starts to warm up to 2 degrees overnight in a week. All right, so stay warm, stay active, do some star jumps, that'll warm you up. And yeah, chilling on a Tuesday. We'll see you next Tuesday from the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame here in Seahorse Medicine Cafe. Washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, a comment somewhere in there, and share it about with your poet friends. See ya.